had in Iraq with the Ashrafis and with the government of Iraq, and also with the Iranian diplomats. I spent 3.5 years dealing with the issue of Camp Ashraf. And I would like to just go briefly to the situation now that we refer to it as the Camp Liberty. Before the arrival of Special Representative of the Secretary General of the United Nations, Kobler, we were genuinely thinking about an exit that would preserve the dignity, the safety and security of the Ashrafis. And we drafted a memorandum of understanding, a real memorandum of understanding to protect. Then came Ambassador Kobler. I advised him, I was his advisor. So, from the first initial draft we put down in order to protect, it was reversed into an instrument to persecute. And indeed, we argued that Ashraf is a 25 years place of residence of these people. Why should we send them out of this place? Why should we relocate them while we could do exactly the same job from Ashraf and find an exit directly from Ashraf? No, that was not the intention. The real intention of the MOU is to actually put pressure on the Ashrafis to distance themselves from the MEK. This we discussed around the table while we were drafting the MOU. What is the best way of distancing this population, which is caught in Ashraf, supposedly against their will? So we are here, the United Nations, to free these people, get them out of the MEK and send them back to Iran. That was absolutely the aim and objective of the MOU. That was signed. And you will notice that the MOU was signed by Kobler on behalf of the United Nations. Why? It's because within the United Nations organization there are some distant organizations. It was supposed to be signed between UNAMI, UNHCR, and the government of Iraq. The UNHCR said, no, we don't want to be part of this deal. So Kobler signed on behalf of the whole organization and made it an instrument for relocation. But we technically discussed it around the table that this is not a relocation, this is an eviction, a forcible eviction. And there are rules and regulations that apply to forcible eviction. And according to the United Nations fundamentals, when you evict somebody from their house, you give them the alternative of same standard or better. And we decided that it's a relocation. We will preserve the safety and the dignity of these people, and we will give them Camp Liberty. I was the first one to visit Camp Liberty, and I was shocked. I was shocked because we were there on the ground where the Iraqi army was looting Camp Liberty. The little thing left. We were there with lorries coming in and out. We were observing them. But then the infrastructure, the whole thing was not fit for accommodating 3,400 people. And yet, forget about the better standard. It was a situation that was really unacceptable. And it was imposed on Ashrafis. The point of about the MOU was it's a voluntary relocation. And also the role of Kobler is a facilitator. Here is a facilitator who is imposing himself to facilitate. As long as you impose yourself to facilitate, you are not a facilitator. Then, moving them to the camp, nobody accepted to just move. What's the principle? The accepted principle is to leave Iraq, not to leave Ashraf. So the United Nations imposed on them to go to a camp, which, in my previous discussions, I said that we did falsify documents. We even improvised pictures to show to the world and to the Ashrafis that this is a standard, acceptable standard. And I will not go on like this, but just one point that I would like to raise, which has not been raised before, is that of the property. You notice that the MOU does not refer to property issues. It was silent, and it's meant to be like that. We also discussed it. And I raised the issue, what's going to happen to the property, movable and immovable property. We raised it. It was absolutely Kobler who said, no, we are not going to talk about these technicalities, these details. We'll address them later. I said to him, we are dealing with a forcible eviction. You cannot deprive these people from their property. He said, we will discuss it later. And at the same time, the Iraqis, our counterparts in the Ashraf Committee, were saying, forget about the property. The property, it's Iraq's people. Iraq's people property. So we will not compromise on this. So Kobler knows that Iraqis are not going to compromise about property. They're claiming that this property is that of the Iraqi people. It's not inserted in the MOU. And it's clear to everyone who dealt with this issue that Kobler has misled international community and has misled the Ashrafis, not only on the Camp Liberty that is unfit to accommodate people, but also on the very important issue of the property. Unfortunately, this situation is being perpetuated, is not being corrected. And as long as Ambassador Kobler is there, I could tell you in this place that there will be no solution to the issue of property, and it will be more complicated, and it will be exactly like the issue of investigating the massacred people in Ashraf in both occasions, July 2009 and April 2011. Two massacres. The United Nations called for investigation. The Iraqis said, forget investigation. There had never been any investigation. And this is total impunity that Kobler is approving. Now, I genuinely fear that we are moving towards the same fate. As far as property is concerned, there will be a day where they say, forget it, and this is, let's move on. I thank you very much for this.